a professional in the real estate business, first of all, if we're going to be number one, we have to be the most prepared, most professional the market has to offer. So I say number one is not only in the region, number one, not just in the C21 system, but being number one in our marketplace, which I know that's just a matter of time before that happens, okay? The reality is that we have to be different from our competitors if we're going to take a number one position in the marketplace, okay? So if we're going to be number one, you know, just this incredible office in the Las Vegas market, then we have to look different, okay? We have to act differently in the marketplace. We have to behave differently, okay? If we're going to be this professional, incredible real estate office, number one in the market, we have to behave differently. We have to react differently than all the other realtors that are out in the marketplace, okay? We have to work at a different level than the 12,000 agents that are in the marketplace. If there's 12,000 realtors going in this direction, okay, then we need to go in the complete opposite direction, if that makes sense to you, okay? So I had a great conversation yesterday with Mike Ferry. And I said, Mike, who is the biggest influence in your life? Because I spent the weekend really reading up, listening to Mike Vance. Mike Vance was his mentor back in the 70s and the 80s. And so I said, who was the biggest influence in your life? And his number one influence in his life is Mike Vance. Number two was Earl Nightingale and Gunther Claus. So I asked him, what were some of the biggest things that you learned from Mike Vance? And I'll share with you his response. And by the way, just listening, you know, I had Elizabeth watch a little bit of Mike Vance. There was an interview in 1974, and the guy is just a genius, a brain. You know, reading 300 books a year. He was the creative thinker for all of Disney World. Worked for Walt Disney right next to him for like 7 or 8 years. This amazing person, right? So I said, so what was the influence on you? What were some of the things that you learned from Mike Vance? And he said, number one, always think big. Always think big. You can do it. Think big. Number two, always think outside the box. Okay? Always think outside the box. Think differently from everybody else. As I say, you know, realtors go in this direction. Let's go in the opposite direction. Okay? And I'll tell you, Mike Vance did some creative thinking for all kinds of companies across the country. You've seen the commercial on Taco Bell where it says, think outside the bun. Well, that came from Mike Vance's company as a consultant to Taco Bell on, you know, whether it's ads or whatever it is, creative thinking. Number three, the third biggest thing that he learned from Mike Vance was quit behaving like everybody else. Quit behaving like everybody else. We have to stop behaving like your typical realtor. We have to change if we're going to be that professional and that executive that we want to be. And number four, whichever direction everyone is going, go in the opposite direction. Okay? That's the fourth thing that Mike Ferry learned from Mike Vance. So here's my question to all of you. Do you look, do you act, do you behave like your typical real estate agent? Do you? Or do you have the mindset of an executive, an entrepreneur, okay, or a real estate professional? Do you operate as a real estate professional, a true professional, okay? Think about the different professions that are out there that are very similar to ours. Just think about this. An attorney, for example, let me use an attorney as an example. Doesn't an attorney require for you to have an appointment to go see one? Yes. Requires an appointment, right? Doesn't the doctor always qualify, especially on your first visit, and they want to know your whole medical history? You have to fill out 10 different forms. They want to know everything about you, okay? And then the nurse checks your blood pressure and checks, you know, heart rate, your weight, and everything else, and they qualify before you even sit with a professional, right? Which is a doctor. Or the CPA, who's probably charging, in most cases, every 10, 15-minute increments. I just got a bill this weekend from my CPA firm, okay? A nice big bill. Dated every conversation, every email, and everything that has happened over the last 2 or 3 months, okay? So if I call my CPA right now, whether it's something, about the company or something personally on a 1031 exchange or some tax question, and I talk to them for 10 or 15 minutes about anything, I assure you that I will get billed 30, 60, 90 days later for that conversation, okay? And it's about $140 an hour. Matter of fact, I remember being outside and talking to him on something about S corporations, and of course, it's on my bill, the bill that I just received, and that was in June or July that I had that conversation with him. He's a professional. That's how professionals operate. That's how doctors operate. Not all doctors operate that way. Not all real estate professionals operate that way, but we should. And if we're going to be number one and we're going to be the best in the region, okay, and we're going to be the best in the marketplace and we're going to be the best in the country, then we do have to start operating with that mindset, okay? So let me ask you this. You're the professional. How much is your time worth? What is the value of your time, okay? Back 10 years ago, 8 years ago, I knew what my time was worth. It was worth about $1,200 an hour. And that $1,200 an hour was not sitting and talking to people that weren't going to make a move. It was talking to people that were ready to take an action. And so my time on the phone was the single most important thing for me to do, setting appointments, okay? We have to stop giving so much free time to prospects who are not ready to make a decision, okay? Think about that. We have to stop giving so much free time to someone who is not qualified to buy or sell, okay? If we were billing in $10, $15 increments and they're willing to pay you, then fine. But we're commission-based. And so I want you guys to be stronger in regards to your time every day at all times. We have to stop going out on listing appointments where the seller hasn't been qualified for price and motivation, okay? If they're not qualified for price and motivation, don't spend the time going out and trying to motivate the unmotivated. We have to guard our time with people. We have to be careful on guarding our time with people who just want to nickel and dime you continuously, or they want that 20 or 30 or 40% discount than what market value is. Bill, you dealt with that last week, right? Unrealistic people. You have to protect and guard your time. Your time is valuable, okay? Protecting your time is a critical step in becoming the executive that you are, okay? You are an executive. You are an executive. You are a real estate professional. You are the best in the marketplace. Prospects are attracted to you. Your clients respect you. Your clients enjoy working with you. We know that you're the best in the marketplace. I know that. The influences here is strong. Your staff, all of your staff, including me, are 100% behind you, okay? Your broker's 100% confident that there's nobody in the marketplace that is better than you in the profession that you have chosen. You are an executive. You are the best. You are a professional. So let's take this to a whole different level. So let's make it a powerful week. Thank you.